Hello, I like money.
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money?
No one really asked for this video, but after seeing what the top reward's going to be for the new event, the new crafting event, let's just say I felt compelled to make this. For those of you that don't know, the new event tank is the American CCVL, and you might notice that it looks a lot like the XM8. That is because it is essentially the XM8, the early version of it. It is the prototype to the XM8 prototype. So as you can imagine, it's not going to be that much different compared to the XM8. Really, the only difference is that the commander has a CITV, and you can carry a bit more ammo, which you're probably not going to do anyway. So it's probably going to be the same BR as the XM8. And as someone that really likes US light tanks, this is not what the US needs. You know, if they wanted to add another US light vehicle, they really could have added the low-sat CCVL. I mean, it's even the same chassis, but it adds something more unique. And it helps the US in an area that they're pretty lacking in, which is tank destroyers, or top-tier tank destroyers. But instead of that, we're getting what is basically a copy-paste of the XM8, and it'll be the third US light tank in that 9.0 area. You know the CCVL is going to get C76A1, which most of you guys know is a pretty garbage round. It's very inconsistent in its damage, and its penetration is what I would call subpar. Like, most tanks in this BR range have DM33, which is a round that's closer to M833. I don't know why Gaijin's averse to giving US tanks M774. It really boggles my mind, but it's whatever. And it sucks to see that Gaijin is being so formulaic with their content. Like, instead of another American light tank, they could have added something for minor nations. They could have added one of the plethora of light tanks that France has. Like the RPX Mars 90 would have been a great choice for this event. But no, we're getting a third American light tank that is stuck with C76A1, a 5-second reload, good mobility, and to be clear, I'm not saying those are bad things, I'm saying it's monotonous. The TCM AGS is somewhat unique because of the turret, but in city maps, they basically all play the same. And when you think about it, the XM8 really should have gone to the tech tree. It is the closest the US ever got to having a modern light tank. Well, besides the MPF, obviously. And if they really didn't want to add something like LOSAT, they could have added something like the RDF-LT, which, you know, has a tech tree counterpart, but is still unique enough to be an enticing reward. Like, it's just so stupid that you can predict exactly what an event vehicle is going to be. Either it's going to be some obscure Soviet heavy tank, a Leopard 2, or an AGS candidate. And if you guys didn't know, there are still plenty of AGS candidates they could add. Like, don't think this stops here. I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or 2 years we see an early TCM AGS as an event reward, or a Stingray. These don't even really have to be tech tree vehicles, they could be premiums, they could be squadron vehicles. There are plenty of options that make these things more accessible. The US tech tree doesn't need more 9.3 vehicles. So if you were to ask me, should I grind the event? I would say no. The CCVL is not going to be anything new. I can't imagine it'll be very attractive for buyers if you're looking to sell it. The events, and especially crafting events, are incredibly painful, so just spare yourself the trouble, don't even try to get it. As I was saying earlier, it's so stupid that Gaijin gets into these ruts or stereotypes of what vehicles should be added. And it seems like it's modern vehicles especially. You know, there are plenty of early Cold War tanks that they could add, or World War II. I know that doesn't make sense as like a top reward, at least for World War II. In my eyes, event vehicles are supposed to be fun, unique, and the CCVL is like white bread, you know? I get why they typically use major nations for events, because they don't want to take away from tech trees that can't really add all that much. But you can make some exceptions, you know? You can spice it up every now and then. There's only one situation in which I would say yes, you should grind a CCVL, and that is if you missed out on the XM8, because it's going to be functionally identical. And when you think about it, it's kind of dumb that they're adding a prototype XM8, because they haven't even fixed the XM8 as it is right now. The XM8 still doesn't have blow-up panels. I think I've done enough complaining about this. I'm sorry if it's too much for you guys. But yeah, if you agree, let me know. Let me know what ideas you have for event vehicles, and I'll see you on the next one.